Good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Coffee with Chris, the podcast in which I talk about your concerns, questions, and share my life with you. I'm still working on that intro. It's gonna be a while until I get it down fully, but it's a work in progress, as is so many other things. And, I think maybe that's part of what we'll be talking about today. Please keep in mind that these aren't scripted. I just talk out of my behind, so to speak, at least as of right now. But if you do have something that you'd like me to discuss, I encourage you to go down into the comments and mention it. Just leave a comment and I'll address it in the next episode. That's the kind of format I want this to take after all. If you're new, which you probably are, because everybody's new at this point, welcome to the channel. I hope you enjoy your stay. This is mostly just for the sake of filling silence for the people that need it. Perhaps you're one of them, or perhaps you'll be one of them someday. And in that case, you're welcome to come back here. Anyway, today I want to talk a little bit about works in progress. Because there are a lot of ways to address improvement. But most people, they want just to immediately get better. People, they want, like maybe you have trouble focusing, right? And rather than rewarding yourself for concentrating for just 5 minutes, you punish yourself for not being able to concentrate for those 10 minutes that you needed to concentrate. Well, the thing is, if you reward yourself for the first 5 minutes and then later you can do 5 more minutes, but if you punish yourself, you're never going back to the project, you're never going back to it. And so you just gotta be kind to yourself. You gotta remember that you're trying your hardest, but don't be too forgiving, don't be too loose. Don't let yourself know that, it's okay to not concentrate on this thing, because that's just who you are. No, you need to find that golden middle ground kind of thing, where you push yourself, but not punish yourself. Weight loss is another great example, probably a better example than the one about concentration. People want to lose weight, right? They have spent years eating junk food and then they look at themselves in the mirror and they're not satisfied. But they expect those years worth of getting bigger to just disappear in a matter of weeks. And when they don't see visible results after 2 weeks, they quit. I know that I'm one of those people. Though for me, it's not necessarily that I don't see the results. It's more so, without the results, I'm not motivated to continue going. I don't really mind not seeing the results because I know they're happening. I just have a hard time maintaining my, in Danish we call it to have courage on it, but in English I think it's like, I don't have a lot of grit in that regard. I don't have a lot of drive to push forward. I really want to push forward in a lot of things. Among others, my back. Well, actually, I am one of those people who have gained a surprising amount of weight in the last maybe 4 months or so. It's ever since I started school, which is kind of weird because you'd think that ever since starting school and riding my bike so much, I'd actually be losing weight. But no, I guess I'm eating too much, probably not eating healthily enough. I know for a fact that I snack too much. And I was pretty proud of where I was weight-wise before, though yesterday we were taking photos. We were walking around taking photos in various locations and all of those things. And it was fun. But when it came time to taking photos of me, I just realized how big I'd gotten. And people tell me I'm not actually that big. I think I'm just the one that sees it because I used to be kind of big. I used to weigh 103.5 kilograms, which is like, I don't know, 220 pounds, maybe. I'm not actually sure, so that's just what I'd estimate it to be. Because I know a pound is like 0.45 kilograms or something like that. So 100 of those would be, 100 pounds would be 40 kilograms. And so 200 pounds at 90, and you've got to add another 13 there. So, okay, so it's actually more than 120. Okay, anyway, I was big. That's the point. I was pretty big, and I'd lost a lot of weight, and I was proud of myself. Though now I've gained at least a handful of pounds back, and I can see it. Other people claim that it's not really visible and that I'm not big, but I see it on my face and around my waist, right? Like, I've definitely gotten bigger. So it's time for me to start losing weight again. Now, the way I lost weight last time was through a divorce. Yes, I got divorced, and that absolutely crushed me. And I didn't eat, I didn't cook for myself. I was not very good at living, basically. So it wasn't just willpower, it was actually something that I was subjected to. Whereas this time it has to be through willpower. And so, yeah, it's time to get some willpower together, and that starts small. I will not be losing these kilograms within the next couple of months. Within the next couple of months, I'll be building up a habit, or I'll be trying to build up a habit that will allow me to lose weight in the long run. That means, I haven't figured it out yet, but it means, for example, 1 pull-up per day at the exact same time. Or it could mean 5 minutes of stretching every single day at the same time. Because then what you do is you extend it. Once you're in the habit of doing 1 pull-up or 5 minutes of stretching, no, 2 minutes of stretching is enough. Once you're in the habit of doing that, and you do that every morning right after you brush your teeth, for example, you'll need a trigger habit. So a trigger habit is this, that's just what I call it. I'm not actually sure if that's what it's called. I think it's called an associated habit or something. But it's a thing that you're already doing. So most of us, we might get up and then brush our teeth, but we don't make our bed. So perhaps the habit should be that we force ourselves to, once we brush our teeth, we go back in and we make the bed. Then brushing our teeth serves as a trigger habit. That means it doesn't matter if I wake up at 5 or at 8. It doesn't matter if I stay in bed for half an hour before getting up. Because once I do get up, I go out, I brush my teeth. That's a trigger habit. Once that's done, I'll go make my bed. And then by forcing myself to do that, it'll become habitual much faster, because you've got that teeth brushing to let your brain know, hey, now it's time to make your bed. And that's a really good way of doing things. So I've actually, speaking of, I've been really bad at making my bed. I should go do that after the podcast here, and then maybe just try to start doing it again, because it feels good to make your bed. Anyway, back to the point, which is that I'd like to lose some weight. And I'm actually thinking that maybe I should use making coffee as a trigger habit. Because the funny thing is, I often just sit around waiting for my coffee to get ready. But I could stretch for a couple of minutes, and then I'd still have to sit around waiting for it to be ready. But as I build the habit, I'd get more and more used to just simply doing it, and the coffee maker keeps the coffee warm after brewing. So I could potentially, I don't see myself doing that anytime soon, but potentially I could end up doing like half an hour's worth of exercise, even though my coffee is long done. And so that's, the power of trigger habits, and that's why I start small. Once it's just something you do, then you can start doing it a little more. You go from 2 minutes to 3 minutes. And then a week later, you go to 4 minutes. Or 2 weeks later. So imagine it like this. You start out stretching 1 minute every day. You do this for 2 weeks, and then you switch it to 2 minutes. Well, when you think about it, there are 52 weeks in a year. So if you switched it up 1 minute every 2 weeks, that's 26 minutes. And keep in mind, you started at 1 minute. So by the end of the year, you will be doing 27 minutes of stretching every single day. And it will be so habitual. And that was just one small step at a time. 1 minute extra every 2 weeks. That's literally nothing. And that's one of the things that deter a lot of people, is that they go in and they just try to do half an hour because they can, but then they don't have the power to keep that going. But by just doing it 1 minute, you only need 1 minute of willpower. And then you can create a habit. And that's exactly what you want. So go out there, do the 1 minute of stretching, do the one push-up. Again, one push-up every single day. Increase that by 2. No, increase that by 1 every 2 weeks. You'll be doing 27 push-ups by the end of the year, every day. It's not a lot. Sure, I mean, it really isn't. But how many push-ups are you doing now? Me, personally, I'm doing 0 push-ups. I think maybe I do 10 push-ups every 6 months. So suddenly doing almost 3 times that in a single day, and doing that every single day of the year. And keep in mind, this is you're not stuck at a year. You can continue increasing this. You could theoretically spend 3 years doing this and then go to 100. And yes, to those of you who know math, I know that it would be closer to 4 years, but it's just for pretend, right? It's one of those things where, are you really in that big a hurry? Try to imagine yourself doing 100 push-ups every single day. Just imagine that. That's actually a lot of push-ups. Because when you think about it and you start saying, well, 100 every day, that's, 10 days, that's 1,000 push-ups. 100 days, that's 10,000 push-ups. So all of a sudden you're doing 36,500 push-ups every single year. I just told you I do like 20 per year. That's a huge increase. And it's just by doing 1 extra push-up every 2 weeks. And you've got a long life ahead of you. Hopefully you do, at least. I mean, fingers crossed that we all live long, happy lives. But consistent effort is going to bring you so much further. There's this thing where if you improve 1% every single day, you'll be 37 times as good after a year. Again, it stacks up. You just gotta go out there and do it. If you start trying to do 100 push-ups a day today, you're most likely going to fail. You won't even make it to 100 push-ups. But 4 years from now, you could be doing 100 push-ups every single day. Right as you wake up in the morning, you brush your teeth and you drop down and you take 100 push-ups. You're going to be pretty awesome at that point. People are going to envy you. They're going to look at you and think, how can you do that? Or she. I'm just projecting here because I'm male myself, so it's like, my situation would be, how can he do that? But how can anyone do that? And it's not really willpower. It's training. But it's not physical training, it's mental training. You train your brain. If you want to train your body, you got to train your brain. So, go out, do that 1 push-up. Make sure to have a trigger habit. At least that's what I'm going to do. And then hopefully 4 years from now, I'll be doing 100 push-ups. Well, push-ups aren't really the thing that I'll be doing. My main focus would be to stretch my back a bit so that I'm, not as hunched over. Would actually be my main focus. So mine would be stretching. And we're back to the same thing. Like, imagine going from 1 minute of stretching and then adding a minute every day for every 2 weeks for 4 years. Then I'd be suddenly I'd be I'd be stretching for almost 2 hours a day. I wouldn't have that kind of time. I mean, my habit would tell me to do more than I actually have time to do. That would be so great, right? So honestly, my goal is more like after 2 years, I'll be doing 50 50 minutes, that's almost an hour of stretching. That's also too much. You see my point here? It stacks up and it becomes a lot. If I do 20 minutes of stretching every single day, that's already impressive. And that's going to help my back a lot. And it's also going to help me lose a little weight. Well, it's going to help me maintain a healthier weight. Along with some healthier eating, perhaps. Eat an apple every day. I don't know. That's just an example. Again, habit. It's the key word to all of this. And on that note, I think it's time for me to leave because yesterday's episode got a little too long. I want to keep them closer to the 15, 16 minute mark. So thank you for listening. It's been really nice talking to you. I can't wait to hear about your habits and how you manage to create them. So make sure to leave a comment down below telling me about what you want to do and how you're going to achieve it. Also, don't forget to leave a like and subscribe if you like the content, which I hope you do. But I don't blame you if you don't. It would be really nice of you if you still, checked in every now and then. But until then, I'll see you tomorrow.